Yes, no.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So my point is clear. When the on the motherboard, when the parts or the components are integrated, if one component damaged, entire motherboard or like entire laptop will be in idle state and entire motherboard go for service. Same like your sofa. If the individual expansion, if the sound card is not working, you can go to the shop and you can get the new one. That doesn't affect the other devices. Simple like your single chair. That's how that's what the difference in X. But both functionality will do the same thing. Okay, this is the part of the onboard components. Onboard means the components which are onboarded or integrated on the motherboard. Like a PS2 port. Earlier we were using a PS2 keyboard and mouse, whatever they were saying. But nowadays we are these are replaced by USB keyboard. Why? Question why they are replaced? Because in the PS2, what will happen? Unless in the USB, while working in the computer, you can remove and replug it. But the PS2 port will not work in that fashion. PS2 port will not work in that fashion. Where in case you cannot plug like pen drive. You have to shut down the laptop or the computer, then you have to plug it, then it will start it. If you in the running state, if you remove the PS2 keyboard or PS2 mouse, your port will get damaged. So it will get short circuit. That's the reason they are going with the USB. Now, next part is motherboard is over. This is over. See that whatever you are seeing, ATX, AT, mini ATX, nano ATX, pico ATX, micro ATX. This is ATX. The meaning is it's a form factor, size of the motherboard. Size of the motherboard are categorized as ATX motherboard, AT motherboard, mini AT. AT means advanced technology. X means extended. They just give the name. Simple like your the name given to your for example, why they gave the name, why the name gave, that is their choice. But what is the meaning, how it relates to the in general term. Okay, whatever is saying here, ATX, micro ATX, mini ATX, nano, what is the meaning here? Meaning is, consider you purchased a what like maruti vehicle maruti vehicle Maruti Suzuki. In the Maruti Suzuki, there is an option called as hatchback. Hatchback. And what is the one more option?
Sedan,
Sedan. Correct.
SUV.
Okay. Okay. SUV. There is an option. What's happening in the sedan? Sedan. What's happening? How see like hatchback? What is the difference with sedan and hatchback? Hello. ध्यान
Sedan
है?
is compatible. It was short in a size, and hatchback sedan SUV is a longer version of that particular thing.
अभी मैं आपको सिंपल में बोल रहा हूँ, देखो सेडान में क्या होता है, ये आप सिंपल टर्मिनोलॉजी देखो, ये बैक साइड आता है, ये बैक साइड का ये सेडान में आता है, हैशबैक में वो नहीं रहता है. सी इन द हैशबैक दिस बैक साइड वॉट एवर द डिक्की बोलते रहे, सो दैट विल नॉट बी देयर. दैट्स व्हाट द सेम वे व्हाट विल हैपन in the hatchback. When this is not there, then the size of the car will be less smaller compared to this one. This looks longer one. Same way, same question comes to here also. When there is a motherboard, size will be reduced. Initial standard size is standard ATX, little bit reduced. Then it comes called as micro ATX. Now it's lesser than that, then it's a mini ATX. Whatever your laptop motherboard is called, that is called as mini or micro ATX. ATX nothing but just consider the size of the motherboard. Now coming to the CPU, this is we discussed. This cache memory, virtual memory, this entire notes I'll share with you. Okay, that one. RAM part, the types of RAM are DRAM, STRAM, RDRAM. That will coming in the later picture. Somewhere this picture I have explained here. Somewhere किधर है इधर है. This is the just introduction. Later explanation is this is the explanation part. These are the RAM types. Memory, primary memory, secondary memory. Your ROM, RAM comes under here, primary. RAM is nothing but your regular working ROM. Now, whenever you start the computer, first what will happen? The booting process takes. It means the process of starting the computer. What exactly happens when you start the computer? It will check whether your hardware is working in condition. It will check your keyboard, mouse, or other processor, other internal parts are working or not. This will also check whether your computer is installed with operating system like Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows XP, or Linux operating system, Joby operating system, any operating system you installed in that computer. Are they working or not? Whether the all files are working or not. What will do? Those checking initial hardware checkup or software checkup will be taken care by ROM. Initial working condition of your hardware and software will be taken care by this ROM. ROM types are PROM, EEPROM, but nowadays we are using EEPROM, means electrically erasable programmable ROM. This is just a integrated chip, or we can say this is called as IC.
I see.
IC, integrated circuit chip. Where you will find it? Take this, show this. I'll show the picture here. ROM chip on motherboard. How do you find it? ROM chip location on the motherboard. Somewhere it is here. So this is the one of the AMI. AMI is the one of the brand manufacturer of the BIOS. There will be a different processor, this different brand as like the car brand. So you will find this type of chip, memory chip, which is placed on the motherboard. We will also find like this. Then what is this is called? This is called as like a small cell that will just work like a how the cell works for your what like battery. Same cell is used along with this. This cell is called as CMOS CMOS cell. If you will remove this CMOS cell, this RAM will not work. Your computer will not turn on. Okay, same like its CMOS cell is nothing but your watch cell. Earlier you were using watch, no? In the watch also there is a small cell. Same type of cell it is available. But the watch cell is smaller. This CMOS cell will be little bit bigger. Somewhat like you can say like if you are considering 5 rupees coin. Who is that man? Okay. See here. If you are looking for 5 rupees coin, 5 rupees coin. Whenever you are the 5 rupees coin, whatever size you are finding, that is the size of your CMOS chip. Okay. Now, now this is called as the whatever here it is showing next to the CMOS chip, whatever find, this is called as a ROM chip. Okay. Now question arises why I should learn it, because when you are attending an interest, now you are switching your career from whatever XYZ background. Suppose you are a fresher. Now whenever you are attending an interview, the job role I told in the first class, service desk or IT support engineer or IT executive engineer or what like a tech support engineer. The question there you will again come across this hardware there, because you are supporting, whenever you are supporting US client or UK client, any client, because the user comes with the question, my computer is not starting, you don't know where exactly starts, you cannot guide them. But whenever you are, you have to narrow down, you have to go down and down the line, you have to check. First you check your hardware parts, but first you need to know how the hardwares are working. So you will say that my computer is not booting. They will say booting means what exactly not happening. You need to analyze it, whether the operating system is not booting or nothing is showing on the monitor. What exactly happening? You need to understand which part do what functional. Simple funda means, suppose you want to drive the vehicle, but you need a little bit basic understanding. What exactly? Which are the like a main minimum understanding you need to have the on the vehicle you are driving. That's what. Something is not working means at least basically you need to in a condition to manage that vehicle. You cannot become a like automobile engineer or like you can like a garage person, whatever he's doing. You should not have that much knowledge, but little bit of basic understanding how you need to have, same way you need to have. That's what the reason we are trying to explain you. Now coming to this RAM types, yes RAM, cache RAM, okay. And one more thing I have to explain here. Whenever you are doing it here, you will come across one word called as BIOS. BIOS means basic input output system. This is together called as BIOS ROM chip. BIOS ROM chip will work only with the help of this small CMOS cell. If this cell is removed, this ROM chip doesn't work. If the ROM chip doesn't work, your computer doesn't start. This is the funda. Why it's called as BIOS ROM chip? ROM, this is the chip. Okay. Why it's called as BIOS? Because this ROM chip helps in basic input output system checking. Means first when you will start the computer, basically what it will check? It will check basically, it checks input and output device working status. What are the input output devices? Whether आपका keyboard काम कर रहा है, mouse working or not, your internal CPU, motherboard, your RAM, everything is working or not. It will check internal and external or internal and outside parts, whichever connected. It will check working. If it's everything working, then goes. Consider if your RAM is not working, how it will show the indication? You will get a beep codes. Single long beep code you'll get. That beep code is nothing but what? Your RAM is not working. That is the indication. See here. Okay. Beep codes desktop. I am giving the search word. Desktop computer. See here. One beep. Memory is not working. Reset or replace memory. What does it mean? Either the memory means on the motherboard there is a place where we are placing the RAM. This is called as memory module, and the card which we are placing on this memory module is called as RAM slot. If the RAM slot is not placed properly, or if the RAM card is stopped working, then what is the alternative solution? First you remove the card and replace it. That is the one solution. Or else if that doesn't work, replace it. That's what they are saying. Refresh failure, reset or replace memory. Either you need to remove and reconnect or replace the memory. That is the solution for one beep. Again, 3 beeps also says the same. Memory
Sir,
error.
can you maximize this?
Oh, sure. Right now you can see it.
Yes, now it's fine.
Okay, 5 beeps coming means processor failure. Now question is how see the ROM will check the working condition. If any of the part is not working, it will show the beep. Okay, these are the several. So you will get later in the suppose we will say here beep ports troubleshooting. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Is this beep sound or for all the motherboards same beeps or
Almost same
different?
beeps. Almost same. Suppose what are the motherboard manufacturer? Suppose you want to see like a laptop. Almost like same will come. But what you need to understand, like common understanding you need to have, like normally 1 beep and 3 beep is nothing but your memory failure.
Okay.
Okay. That's what you need to understand. Like you will get the answer for it. They will not, even though they in the interview, they will not ask like what are the like 1 beep, 2 beep, 3 beep. They will not ask in order. They will ask like major commonly. As I told you in one of the session, what I explained you here. Can you see whatever the performance of the hardware performance, which are the 3 factors considers? RAM, CPU, disk, storage. They will ask the questions only related with this. They will not ask how the expansion card is not working. Okay, even they are aware that we are not working because we cannot do it. Only the on-site engineer can do the replacement of the expansion card. Okay. Now,
Okay.
here we discussed basic input, and ROM will perform 2 tasks. One is called as power on self test. That is called as post. Next,
The power
BIOS
all. Can you repeat that?
power on self test. Power on self
Power
test.
on self test. Okay.
What does it mean? After turning on means after power on the computer, it will do the self test. What self test it will do? It will check whether the parts are working or not.
Working or not? Yes. Right.
Hardware parts working. That's what post.
Mhm.
Okay. I'll see here. BIOS post. What it says? Okay. Let me see. You can see my screen. Suppose you are not finding a time to write, take the photo. BIOS post. What it do? The diagnosis process that runs when a computer is powered on, checking if all essential hardware components are working correctly or not. Okay? It's performed by the BIOS, a software that resides on the motherboard. What does it mean? What is the relationship between BIOS and post? What it is saying? Okay, I will. You can see this picture now. Okay, ठीक है. See, this is the chip which is placed on this motherboard. Which one? I'll take this a blue color one. Okay. The chip which you are seeing, this is called as a ROM chip. This is called as ROM chip. This is a physical hardware. Okay. This ROM chip, what it exactly contains? This ROM chip contains software. That software is called as BIOS. ROM chip is a physical hardware. That ROM chip contains what? That contains a software. What software contains? Software as the information of how the exactly hardware testing has to take place, how the operating system has to load. Those basic instruction it will hold it. Due to this reason, this ROM chip is also called as BIOS ROM chip, whichever I told here. This ROM chip is also called as BIOS ROM chip.
Bias
Now,
from.
this BIOS is a software which is stored in this ROM chip and together called as BIOS ROM chip. And this BIOS ROM chip works with the help of this. For the backup, it's required. That power, it maintains the power. This cell contains what? This cell is called as CMOS cell. CMOS.
Yes.
CMOS cell. This is like a power backup. It supports the power to the, it gives us power to the ROM chip. How the your आपके watch में जैसे cell रहता है ना, उसी तरह ये CMOS cell है. This CMOS cell, what is the size? If you consider 5 rupees coin, that is the size of the CMOS cell. That cost of hardly like a 2 to 5 rupees. That's it maximum.
So
Sometimes
it
10
is
rupees.
it is chargeable.
No chargeable. How your watch cell works? Analog watch में cell रहता है ना, छोटा वाला. What is the durability of the cell? It may work for 6 months, it may work for 6 years. Like a China model. China
Okay.
model, what is the meaning? Like, see, branded, of course, branded will work for 5 years.
Okay.
चल गया तो चांद, निकल गया तो डस्टबिन. Okay, see.
Okay.
So what we enter like branded will have like a maximum of 5 years. So you can expect at least any new cell branded cell you go with that. Then you will get so those on-site, see, in your whenever you are completing course, you may get an opportunity for on-site engineer, you may get an opportunity for like a service desk engineer, you may get an opportunity for Windows admin, but wherever you go, hardware basics are comes as common. If you are going in the desktop support, PC hardware, PC, this is called as PC hardware, personal computer hardware basics. This is the must when you are going for a support role. If you are going admin role, they will ask basic hardware. Along with that, they will ask a server related question. Okay, since this batch include both fresher as well as experience, I have to take everyone together as well. One line. Okay, now coming to the back to the part. This is a ROM chip, and ROM chip contains a software called as a BIOS. BIOS has what? Basic input output system. How the hardware testing has to happen. How the software operating system has to load. Those instructions it has hold. This post is a part of this instruction set. Our first part it will check your computer hardware checking. That is called as post. First, this whatever the software is called, this is called contains how the hardware test has to happen. Means that is called as post. After that, once hardware is working, then it will check how the operating system has to load. That is called as boot loader. Boot loader. That boot loader is nothing but process of storing the operating system file. That it will check whether your Windows 10 or Windows 11, Linux, जो भी आप operating system installed in that computer, is it working, basic hardware work, operating system working, it will takes place. Okay, that's what here. So whatever the some earlier starts with the PR earlier, okay, this is called as ROM. So initially, oh my God, sorry. Initially, types of ROM comes with PROM, programmable ROM, erasable ROM, electrical erase. What is the difference? Programmable means one-time program. In case if that got damaged, and replace the entire chip. Later it comes with the advanced technologies. Now, whatever your flash memory, your USB cards, pen drives, whatever you are saying, USB card or pen drives or memory cards, whatever you are seeing in your day-to-day life, those pen drives, memory cards are works with the concept of EEPROM, electrically erasable programmable ROM.